Welcome to the show Gold Squadron Gays. It's the podcast where two Star Wars loving gays talk about and review their favorite Star Wars content while also being gay as hell. I'm your host, Bradley Brower.
I'm your other host, Charles Rogers, and damn, more of you like Resistance than I thought. Okay. I got a lot of feedback this week.
Interesting.
When we started our Resistance coverage of people being like, either, holy shit, I love the show, I'm so glad you guys are doing it, or, holy shit, I've never watched this show, and this is my excuse to start watching it.
I also had someone who was like, I could never get past the animation, but good for you guys actually going through this or something. I was like, that's hilarious. I love it. Oh my
God, you get used to it. I promise you get used to it. Oh, Lord.
I mean, I'm not mad. I just find it so funny. But I like how they were just like, good on you guys.
Good for you guys, yeah. I guess. So, yeah, lot of positive feedback for us doing this. So that was not expected, but
okay.
Before we get started on the actual episode, I just want to remind our audience of sort of how we plan out the show. Like, what is Gold Squadron Gays? How do we do it? We're not a punditry show. So I know there's currently rumors flying around, right? They're everywhere right now. We don't talk about things unless they're confirmed by the source or they're like just too big to ignore. So when an official announcement is made of a thing, we will talk about the thing. But until then, we're not going to sit here and spend 15 to 20 minutes speculating anymore based on one unverified report that's being picked up and run by everybody. It may be accurate. It may not be accurate. We don't cover those things because we don't want the show to be too dated when people go back and listen to it. So if anything happens between now and Monday and we don't talk about it, that's why.
Oh, okay. You're establishing timeline here.
I'm establishing timeline. If something drops on Sunday or Monday or late Saturday and we don't talk about it, that's why.
Got it.
So keep that in mind. As of this, nothing official has happened.
I was going to say, like, it could happen. I was like, I'm just like checking my phone now. Like, do I need to put an alert on my phone?
Do I need to put... Okay.
No.
We should probably talk about the actual
Let's talk
episode.
about the episode, yeah.
Let's talk about the episode of a show that Dave Filoni co-created and that was his idea originally, that does not feature a lot of characters from previous properties that he's worked on.
All right. Well, today we're talking about Resistance Season 1, Episode 2, The Recruit Part 2.
Which we're considering Episode 2, even though they aired at the same time.
And it's weird because on Wikipedia, it does classify the production number for this episode as a separate episode. So it is considered 102 in the production code. I don't know officially because like on the Star Wars website, it doesn't have it listed, but it does. It's really strange. I don't know.
I think it's two episodes that aired back to back.
Right. Which it's still technically all one episode. Regardless, it's our episode 2. We're treating it as such. So there you go. This week, after Kaz boasts about being the best pilot around, he is forced to compete in a dangerous sky race. Charles, what's one thing you liked about the episode and one thing you did not?
One thing I liked is that I really liked the race a lot more than I remember. It's very visceral. It's very fun. It doesn't overstay its welcome. They don't throw him in a race with all of the other aces to have him get his ass handed to him. It's very cleverly written. It's very character focused. It's him and Toradoza, who is going to be a major character throughout the show. So it's really well done. It's really well integrated. I loved the emotional catharsis. I love that the protagonist choice is very clear in this race, which is one of the nice things about watching media for kids. Sometimes the bones of the structure are very clear to us because they have to be very clear so that the audience can understand the choice that Kaz is making. It's not subtle. So I liked that. I liked the race a lot more than I thought. I was always a little ambivalent on the racing stuff the first couple of times I watched this, but this time I really liked it. One thing I didn't like, there were some good emotional moments with Kaz as a character. I think we maybe could have leaned into to it a bit more in this episode. This one's a little heavy on the slapstick, a little light on the characters having this direct character development. Overall, I thought this was a really solid second half of the pilot. Maybe a little more of that, maybe a little less funny faces while getting hit by a droid. But that's
Yeah.
what we're doing. That's the vibe of this show. So, what about you, Bradley? One thing you liked and one thing you didn't.
One thing I liked, I thought it was fine. I mean, I didn't think it was like a very like creative episode. I thought it was just like kind of very like, okay, he has to do the race now. Like it is clearly the part two. Like it's very much so like this is the part two. There's not a lot of build up. It's just kind of like, okay, we're in the race, you know. I liked that without going into the detail, I liked more of the epilogue, and I know that doesn't really have, there's not actually not a lot happens in the epilogue, but I like the setup of something. So like that gave me hope for the show versus like the slapstickiness, which I don't like. I feel like I like when the show goes, "Oh, we're actually setting up the actual plot. Like this is the stuff you want to pay attention to." That's the part that I liked. The one thing I did not like is yeah, the when we kind of go off and do these random little slapstick side quests, and you'll see when I do each of my sections like it's kind of like the whole going to get the what's it called? The Bulls, is it? No, Bulls is the
It's
guy's
a
name.
Gorg.
Gorg. The whole
Get the
going to
Gorg.
get a Gorg quest in this episode pissed me the fuck off. Like, because it meant nothing. It had no relevance on the plot whatsoever, and it was just stupid. It was the dumbest point. It was filler in the episode for literally no reason. Like it genuinely does not happen for any reason because there's no consequences afterwards of the thing. Like it just kind of he gets it, he brings it back, and then it's just like, oh, I didn't need it. Okay, then why do we do this? It makes no sense other than the reveal of uh we'll talk about it when we get to the scene. But I like it pissed me off. But yeah. So that was the thing that pissed me off was that the one thing I did not like.
Yeah, I was reading, so I've been watching Deep Space Nine. This
Mhm.
is relevant, I promise. But one of the things that they talked about in DS9, the production of that was something that appealed to them was where you had a normal Star Trek show at the time where you go from planet to planet, but at the end of the 45 minutes, you leave the planet. And there aren't really consequences to the Enterprise crew in the long term for whatever they're dealing with from the planet, which makes sense. It's episodic. Deep Space Nine wanted to be a serial. And so one of the things they brought up was like, oh, we can't, after 45 minutes, jet away from this. It will have an impact on things big or small down the line. And watching some of the stuff in these early episodes, I'm like, this doesn't make a lot of sense, but like it will come up again. It will keep getting referenced.
I without going too far off track, Discovery does this very well. It's very similar in that they go do the planet thing in the episodic format, but then the thing it has reoccurring problems later. Like it keeps coming up and it keeps being a factor later on in the show. So
And
I
we
like
will
it.
talk about Star Trek much, much more when I finish old Trek and start getting into new Trek, which Bradley has watched. And we will get into that more on our 15 to 20-minute warm ups that are posted to our Patreon at patreon.com/Gold Squadron Gaze. For $3 a month, you can have us talking about things that aren't Star Wars because this may surprise you. Bradley and I are friends, and we talk about things that are not Star Wars.
Right,
So
because
this
then our
week,
lives would be boring if we did.
exactly. So this week we had conversations about going to the club at in your 30s and the new Percy Jackson show. So definitely if you like our vibe and you want to hear us talk about something that's not Star Wars, hey, $3 a month on our Patreon, you can get access. There's a ton of backlog of content that you can watch us talk about anything and everything that comes to our minds. Anyway, Bradley, now that I've ad plugged us into hell,
hmm
do you want to take us into the episode?
Section 1. Kaz confronts Niku about entering him in the race, and Niku explains that joining the best pilots means a better life in Doza Tower, and hopes Kaz can bring positive change. Yeager notes Kaz's poor attempt at keeping a low profile, and the crowd watches the current race, and the announcer publicly introduces Kaz as the best pilot in the galaxy and forces him to choose an opponent. Faced with famous aces, Kaz shocks everyone by choosing Tora as his rival, the newest and youngest ace.
So, Niku. This episode handles Niku a lot better.
I literally have a note that says Niku answers a question we had from last week, which we'll get to in a second, but it's getting better. It's not as
Yes.
annoying. Yeah.
He's very like the last episode he's stupid.
Yes.
This
Very.
episode he's just painfully optimistic.
Right, because then it kind of explains it. He's like, "Oh, well, the reason why I was being so whatever is because XYZ. Like, if you win, you get to be an ace, you get to live in the tower, and it's like a whole thing." And like,
Yeah, he lays out why he's suddenly so excited
right.
because Kazuda was like, I'm the best pilot.
Mm-hmm.
And Niku immediately sees this and is like, oh, if I attach myself to this F1 racer without a pit crew, if I become
Right.
pit crew, then I
Right.
get to live
I get to
in the
live in the nice
tower.
tower. Right.
Yes. So it's not that he's stupid. It's that he takes things literally,
Mm-hmm.
takes things at face value, and tries to see like he gives people the benefit of the doubt. A lot more than maybe he should.
Right, because we were talking about last week that he was just really stupid, and it actually, funny enough, a TikTok came up for me this week about the born sexy yesterday trope and in movies and TV, which I don't know you're familiar with,
I've
but
watched Titans recently, so I
yeah.
am indeed familiar with this trope.
Okay, so
Yes.
but to make it not sexy, because obviously Niku's not sexy, or he's not attractive, which is part of the trope.
Conventionally, he's not
Conventionally attractive,
conventionally
right?
attractive.
It's just the born yesterday trope, I guess you could say. So he's just childlike. He is just not stupid, but he's more of
He's
innocent.
naive.
He's naive, yeah. So,
It's aggravating because he's supposed to fully be a young adult.
right.
The cast of this show are all supposed to be fully young adults. Like I think we established Kaz as like 20 or 21 in the last
Right.
episode.
He acts more like a teen than he does a college age person who just got out of like being in the
Do we
Navy.
know when Niku was
So,
born?
probably not
Niku.
because I feel like they never tell us any alien ages
It
ever.
might have been in a reference book somewhere.
They're
Uh,
175 years old.
it does not mention how
Yeah.
old Niku is supposed to be.
So, I mean, just from, I mean, we can do our thing that we always do, which is default to the actor's age,
Well, we
which is,
can't because voice actor.
well, the voice actor's age is what I mean. Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I guess we can't really do that
We
because,
can't really do that no, because we normally would do that.
no,
I'm defaulting to around Kaz's age
okay. I
because
would say he's in his 20s. That's fine. That's fair.
I think all these characters in seem to be
Minus
around
Jaeger. Yeah.
minus Jaeger. All of the main cast seems to be around their 20s.
Yeah, that sounds right. Especially Tora and, what's the mechanic's name? Tam.
Tam.
Yeah. I feel
Tora,
like,
yeah, Tora
yeah, they're
seems
both young.
maybe about 19 or 20. Yeah, like they write the characters just a little bit younger than they actually are.
Sure. Like every high school TV show ever. Let's get back to Niku. So I wrote down a note that says Niku answers a question we had from last week.
Right.
And I said this because he talks about, or he said something about falling off the Colossus, or like if you go in the water of the Colossus or off the water. And basically, it doesn't seem to be that falling off the Colossus is what kills you into the water. It's what lives in the water that would kill you.
Put a note in there are big things that eat little things. This will be relevant
Oh, okay. I figured they were
as the show
seeding something.
progresses.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there are sea monsters and they will eat people.
Good to know. And you know what? I'm glad because that actually makes more sense. Like, oh, the threat of being thrown off the thing is not the dangerous part. It's like, oh no, I'm gonna land in the water, like whatever. It's the oh, there's something gonna eat me down
Yep.
there.
If I survive the
Right.
fall off the platform, something is going to eat me.
Exactly. I love that.
I do want to note that the Colossus kind of we established very early on. We established a lot about Colossus Society in this episode. One of the things we establish is they have a class system
Hmm.
that ace racers and their pit crews get to live in Doza Tower. It's cleaner. It's removed from the riffraff. It's much more privileged, and it's something that's aspirational. And everybody else is down here busting their asses
Right. They're
for
on the
money.
market level and
But if you're
the
a moneymaker for the economy,
Hmm.
you get to live in the tower.
which
And the
makes
tower
sense.
people are also separated. The aces are not out walking around. The
Right.
only ace we currently see leaving the tower is not Tam, is Tora.
Torah.
Toradoza
Right.
leaves the tower. But other than her, the rest of the aces stay on the tower. We don't even hear them speak in this episode, which is why, thank God, we don't have to do all their voice actors yet.
Oh, I was gonna say
But
because I get
I
yeah.
tracked none of the aces besides Tora speak in this episode. Hype Phazon does not even speak
Right. He
on
just kind
his
of is on
advertisement.
camera. Yeah, he's just like
Yeah.
whatever.
And we'll get to who's fucking voicing Hype Phazon because it's the coolest shit for me personally.
It's also the coolest name. I'm just gonna throwing that out there now. Like it's such a cool
Yeah.
name.
When we get to who is voicing Hype Phazon, his name
Mhm.
will make more sense.
Okay, I'm
Because
excited.
yes, that is appropriate. But yeah, we do haven't already established that there is this sort of class stratification between
Hmm.
the tower and the everybody else.
Right.
I will say, as the guy who regularly goes on rant about capitalism on For Light and Dice, because I play a character that is the walking personification of people I know on social media. This was very funny to me to revisit. You know what else was funny to me, Bradley?
What?
Being personally singled out to make a decision in front of a crowd of people who don't know me and or don't like me, which is my greatest fear of all time.
Again, I don't know why. Okay, this is clearly, you know how we always have to have a segment, or like other shows have segments, and we've co-opted these segments. And this, my new segment is called Defending Men for no reason other than guess they're right. And this what pisses me off because I hate defending men, but
We could call it defending a man, I
I
guess.
guess.
There we go. The
So
segment's called defending a man, I guess.
So this is now okay. So here's a second defending men, I guess, segment. Kaz makes an educated guess on which of the aces to pick from, and he's not wrong in his logic of
Based
picking.
on the information he was given,
He was only just given basic information of this guy over here is the best. Actually, not even that. They literally put them in order, 1 to 5. They're like, here they are in order. Like, that's how strong. Here's number 1. He's the best guy that we have, and here's number 5. She's just the newest. That's why she's number 5. So logically, he's like, oh, I'm gonna pick her because she is the youngest and newest person. So she's probably not as good as the other ones. And then everybody laughs at
yes.
him.
Well, they also to blame Kaz slightly, he does immediately pick Tora.
Yeah.
Like it's played as he sees this like younger girl racer, which I don't think they mean to be like, oh, it's a girl. He picked the girl because there's
No, because
also another
there's another
girl.
woman. Yeah. Mhm.
But he does pick the youngest one immediately and the newest one immediately before they show the stats. So they didn't have a chance to show the stats. But also, like, fuck this race announcer
Yeah.
for immediately putting him on the spot and having him make a decision.
Right.
Because, like, obviously he wants this to end. His job is to keep a low profile. Every time he opens his mouth in front of people, he makes it worse. And he had no way of knowing that they were going to show the stats. So, like, rather than someone pulling him aside and going, here are the 5 competitors that you could
Yeah.
pick, here are their statistics, which they have, and they put up on the screen after he picks Tora. Rather than that, they put him on the spot and go, pick your racer. Here's 5 choices.
Right.
Go. Fuck you, race announcer guy. This is my literal worst fear of all time.
But it's funny. I don't know. It was a good bit. I will say it was kind of fun. And it sets up nicely the problem of the episode of now I gotta race this person who's clearly actually really good.
Hey, speaking of the race announcer guy, you probably don't have any notes on him because he's a relatively bit part in this.
Uh-huh.
But I do just want to read from Bucket's list on
Oh,
StarWars.com for this episode.
okay.
As to the voice of this race announcer. Quote, Greg Proops returns to Star Wars to voice a race announcer, but it's not the two-headed race announcer from Star Wars The Phantom Menace's pod race. Although the voice is the same, it's more akin to a copycat invoking classic announcer style. End quote. So Greg Proops is the voice of the race announcer or one of the heads of the race announcer in Star Wars The Phantom Menace.
Iconic.
in the pod racer scene,
Love that.
and voiced the pod racer alien in a lot of the Phantom Menace adaptations, video games, and
Mm,
things like that. He's voiced this race announcer.
okay,
So
love that.
same guy as the Phantom Menace.
Section 2. At the tavern, Kaz asks Yeager for a ship and is introduced to the Fireball, a fast but prone to exploding vessel. Niku volunteers to get it up and running. At Yeager's repair shop, Kaz is unimpressed by the Fireball's better condition, and mechanic Tam is furious to learn that Kaz will pilot the Fireball after it was already promised to her, and she storms off. Yeager admits the ship needs serious work and calls in his astromech Bucket to help prep the Fireball. Yeager lists an overwhelmingly number of parts needed, highlighting the Fireball's unpreparedness for racing, and Toradoza visits the repair shop, wishing Kaz luck, casually warning him that the first time racers usually explode and no one has survived racing against her. Yeager reminds Kaz that winning isn't the goal, surviving is. Staying alive is essential to completing Poe's mission.
I do want to mention very briefly this scene in Aunt Z's bar. I'm taking the opportunity to do it now so Bradley doesn't have to do it later. Glitch, who is the robot that she's talking to in
Oh,
this
okay.
scene, is voiced by Jonathan Lapau. And I'm bringing him up because we have
We've said that
talked
name
about
before.
Jonathan Lapau before. We
Hmm.
talked about him in the Bad Batch, and we said that he voices a lot of characters in Resistance. So we've already run through his resume back
Got it.
then, but I do want to highlight he's in a lot of this. So
So I don't have to bring him up later on if someone
you
is
don't have
like,
to bring
oh,
him
okay.
up later if somebody pops up. He's a lot of Stormtrooper number 4.
Love that.
He's the voice of Gork. He's the voice of Glitch. He's a random First Order officer. So he's all over the show. We've already talked about him back in
Got
the
it.
Bad Batch. 122 acting credits. He's all over Star Wars. You know who this guy is. I want to talk about the Fireball, the
Okay.
mention of the Fireball, which is called that because it blows up a lot.
Right. Terrible name.
Amazing name. Amazing name. Because it
Amazing
keeps
name.
fireballing.
I hate it, but I love it at the same time because I kind of like the logo that they slap on it, like the literal fireball logo that's slapped on it. It's also, I think, I want to say Niku has the patch on his jacket
Mhm.
too of the fireball. I do like that. I don't love the look. I mean, it's obviously supposed to look like shit, but I just
It looks like a piece of junk.
it looks like he's junk.
It looks like a piece of junk.
I don't know why I
Great
was
visual
expecting this super
design.
pretty one like Tam's, but
You mean Torres.
or
The
Torres, I'm
fact
sorry.
that we have two
I hate
characters
that.
with T names
I'm gonna keep doing that.
bothers
I know
me.
I am.
I'm going to keep doing that. And look, this is something tricky when writing,
Yeah,
right? That you kind of want to be sure that characters, when you're a writer and you're developing your cast list, you kind of want to vary the first letter of name because people are in fact going to get those names confused a lot.
right.
And I do make it a point, if you look at anything I write that has a sizable cast list, at least with the main core cast, try to get a different first letter
Right.
in the names so that we don't do this. But that's as good a segue as any to Tam Ravora showing up.
Right.
I did mention there was a third member of this party,
Hmm.
and that is Tam Ravora, who is here now. Do you have notes on Tam Ravora's actress?
I do. Tam is being played by Susie McGrath. Susie McGrath is a British actress, and she is known for BBC's EastEnders and an episode of Law and Order UK. She also did voice work in Tales of the Empire during the Morgan Elsbeth episodes. She did two different voices. She did a witch character and then someone credited as mother. So,
Yes, the character speaks with a British accent. This
mhm.
is an important piece of world building for reasons we will get to at a
Oh,
later time.
okay.
But we do know two things about Tam Ravora immediately from this scene, and they are both important. Thing number one is that she's very practical. One of the first things she says is, "You can't afford another mechanic."
She's like, I know what my salary is,
I
and
know
you
what
can't
my
afford
salary is, and you
you
can't
can't
afford to
afford another
split
one of
that
me. Right.
more.
Yeah.
But Yeager also promised she could have the fireball.
Hmm.
She thinks of it as her ship
Right.
and refers to it later in the episode as her ship. So keep that in mind.
Okay.
Yeager made promises to her about the fireball that he has now had to temporarily walk back in order for Kaz to do his thing.
Right.
We get a lot of character work for Tam, where Niku's introduction was not good at showing off who he actually is as a character. Tam's is perfect.
And she doesn't even
This
have
is
that much screen time, and it's a lot of character work, like a lot.
no, this is exactly who she is, and she
Hmm.
will be this way the whole time. And this is the baseline of her character. It's clear, it's distinct.
Yep,
Every line of dialogue she has, particularly in this first scene, communicates something to us about this character. It's very economical. It's so good.
I love it.
Anyway, then Bucket shows up. So
I
this
do
is why
have,
we have
I
Bucket's
do,
list.
I do have Bucket notes. So I he is credited as playing himself, by the way, which is always a fun
This is the Star Wars
the
animation
Star
thing.
Wars
The
thing.
droid is voiced by themselves.
By themselves, right? Chopper was voiced by himself, or and Bucket is now voicing himself, like which is great. I do love when they do that.
You ever see
Um,
any of the press tour for Interview with a Vampire where they talk about how Sam, I forget his last name, sorry, Hope, is not so much acting. They don't necessarily describe him as playing Lestat. They describe it as Lestat is inhabiting the Sam Reed, I think is his name. Lestat is inhabiting Sam Reed.
Sam Reed,
So in the
okay.
way that Sam Reed is just possessed by the spirit of Lestat,
I see how
uh,
that works. Okay.
these actors are just possessed by the spirit of the droid.
I love that.
See, I
Well,
tied it back to Star Wars. It made sense in context. Sometimes that happens with a tangent. It does make sense in context. But who is being possessed by the spirit of Bucket?
oh, I don't know. It literally says himself on the credits, so I
Oh,
don't
well,
know
I can
who.
help you out with that
Okay.
because I looked it up. Bucket is voiced, according to IMDb, by Justin Ridge, who's the supervising director for both seasons of Star Wars Resistance.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. I was like, I don't know. It literally says himself.
Yes,
No,
he
I
is the
have notes
supervising director.
on Bucket, but
Yes, he is the supervising director for all of Resistance.
that makes sense.
He is a supervising director on seasons 3 and 4 of Star Wars Rebels, and he is a coder. He is the co-director of the Pit episode that we talked about when we just did Visions.
Gotcha.
Anyway,
So would you like to know? Yeager makes an offhanded comment how he's had Bucket for a really long time, and he even got Bucket when he was already 100 years old.
yeah, Bucket's fucking old.
I figured out how old he is.
How old is Bucket?
So, according to Wikipedia, he was manufactured in 76 BBY, thus making him around 110 years old, as the show is currently taking place in 34 ABY. For reference, R2D2 was built around 33 BBY, which he's like 67 in The Force Awakens. So, like, for reference, this droid is 100 plus years older. Like, it's like crazy how much older this droid is. And they're like the same series. So it's like he was made 30 plus years before, you know, R2D2 was made, which is
Yeah, Bucket's
crazy.
just had all the external casing stripped away. Like he's just the
Right.
servos and motors at this point.
Which, by the way, can I tell you, I hate.
You
I
hate Bucket.
genuinely hate the design. I genuinely hate it. I don't like the fact that he's wearing a fucking helmet on his little roto camera thing eye. Like, Yeager's so fucking cheap that he can't get him fucking casing like for his body. Like, pisses me off. Like, why doesn't this droid have a body? Like, it makes me so mad. I get like it's part of like the like, oh, he's so fucking old, like we can't find parts for him or some shit. But like, come on, like let's be real.
Yeah, I don't really remember how Bucket is used throughout the show because most of the droid stuff I remember are is BB-8 and the CB unit that replaces BB-8
I think that's the
later
only
on
thing I
in the show.
remember.
I don't remember a lot of what Bucket does
Yeah,
over the
I don't
course of the show.
I get Bucket confused with the DJ robot from
DJ Rex.
DJ Rex from the Star Tours, because I don't know why, just like visually, I guess in my brain I'm thinking like stripped down puppeteer thing, like because that's what all the robots were in Star Tours in the
Star
like the
Tours, yeah,
queue line.
they're the old animatronics
Animatronics
from
without
I
the
think
skins,
Country
yeah.
Bears Jamboree. Or
Right.
no, it
And
was something like Country Bears
so it was
Jamboree.
one of the shows that Disney had, and these were just the animatronics
They
that
were
they
the
had left
old
over. Yeah.
animatronics, and to save money, they tossed it in there. But
Yeah, but that's what that reminds me of. And like I don't know why, but like I just don't ever see Bucket in my brain when I think of like all the classic Star Wars droids that are like staples in the shows, like or in the movies. Like I'm like, you have BB-8, you have K2SO, you have like you have L3. Like I'm just like none of these are like Bucket just doesn't seem as iconic because he
I
doesn't have a body.
I don't recall him being used that very much is the thing.
Okay.
And
So he's just
we'll
here.
see. We'll see as the show progresses,
Okay.
but I don't think they ever had a chance to do anything interesting with Bucket. I just think he's sort of here.
Okay.
I think I feel like he was set up as potentially being able to be episodic content later because he's so old, but
Mm.
then they never had a chance to do anything with him because the show got very, very rapidly shut down in season 2. We'll get to it when we get to it because we have to move on to yet another main cast
Another
member
main cast
walking
member, right?
in.
Yes.
I told you half the main cast was last week. The other
Mhm.
half is this week. We haven't even gotten to the aces yet. We haven't even gotten to Captain Doza, who's mentioned all over this episode,
Mm.
but doesn't appear. But his daughter sure does. Walks right into the hangar bay. This is Tora Doza. Who's voicing Tora Doza?
Tora is being voiced by Mirna Velasco. She is a Mexican American voice actress, best known for voicing Jessica Cruz slash Green Lantern in the DC's Superhero Girl show, and Cara Delgado in Disney's Elena of Avalor.
I'm looking to see if she has a Disney trifecta, and it does not
Didn't
look like she
see, yeah.
does.
She has one of our like what I'll call almost because like she does a DC thing instead of a
She does
Marvel
do a
thing.
DC thing. She does a
So
couple of DC things.
right. I feel like that's a
Uh,
lot of the people that we have. Like whenever they don't have a Disney trifecta, like they
they
have a Disney
usually
thing
have a
and they have a Star Wars thing, but they have like a bunch of DC stuff. They don't have anything Marvel, which is interesting.
right.
But
She's also in World of Warcraft Shadowlands, but I can't find out who she plays. She's also gorgeous. Just Google what she looks like. Google Myrna Velasco. She's fucking gorgeous. But yeah, she's a very talented voice actress, and it looks like she primarily does DC stuff and like kid shows.
right.
But she's been steadily working since 2010. Looks like it really picked up after she made the transition because she was on a couple of live action TV episodes, and it looks like she sort of made a transition over to voice work and has been pretty steadily working in voice work. She's a mainstay at DC Kids. So there will be a bit later where Tora is like, she seems like she's trying to psych Kaz out, and she's actually being very genuine. She does say in this section that nobody has ever survived racing against her. That is demonstrably untrue. We saw her race in the opening scenes of this episode, and all the aces survived. She might just mean one on one.
I was gonna say maybe that's what she
No
means
one
because
survived racing
I
against her.
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, that doesn't really add up. I mean, or it does add up in that she just joined the racing aces, so like she technically hasn't had time to actually have that statistic yet. So technically it's true. Like,
I think she's trying to genuinely be very nice here, and I
yeah.
think this must be true on one-on-one races
Right, which
that
there may
everyone
be a
who's
lot
raced
of, we
against
don't
her
know.
has
Yeah.
died.
Right.
But Tora, we'll get to it a little later in the episode. Tora is not the type of person to come down here and just psych Kaz out
Gotcha.
on purpose.
On purpose.
She will absolutely do it by accident. Anyway, we got to move on to two of the best characters in the show.
Section 3. Yeager sends Kaz and Niku to Orca and Flix to acquire some spare parts for the fireball. Kaz realizes he must pay and admits he has no money. Orca offers second-hand parts for a rare delicacy called a gorg, which Niku accepts. At the marketplace, Kaz discovers the gorg seller is Bolza, the same guy who he threw a dart at. Despite this, he convinces Bolza to sponsor the fireball in exchange for the gorg. When Kaz and Niku return, however, they find them eating already and receive a crate of low-quality spare parts and junk. Back at Yeager's shop, Tam is furious over the useless parts. Frustrated, Kaz storms off, feeling he fails despite his best efforts. And later that night, by the sea, Kaz confides in BB-8 about his father and resolves to choose his own path and prove himself in the race.
Let's talk about who's voicing Orca and Flix, and then we'll talk about the Ronto in the room
Okay.
with regards to these two.
Okay. So Flix is being played by Jim Rash. He is an actor and comedian best known for playing Dean Craig Pendleton on this NBC sitcom Community. He's also appeared in numerous episodes of That 70s Show, Reno 911. He also does the voice of the Riddler in Harley Quinn series, and he has also appeared in 2 episodes of Glee. So gotta have some gay stuff in there. He does have a Disney trifecta, as he has done multiple voices in Disney cartoons, such as DuckTales. But he also appeared in the Disney superhero movie Sky High, which is what I knew him for first. He also has been in two separate Marvel things. He was in Captain America Civil War in the background, and he more recently was in the new Ironheart TV series as a college professor.
Yeah, so big comedy actor. Speaking of big comedy actors, who's voicing Orca?
Not unlike Flicks, Orca is played by Bobby Moynihan. He's an actor and comedian, best known for being a cast member and writer for Saturday Night Live from 2008 to 2017. More recently, he has made a regular appearance in NCIS Origins. He also does voice acting for a lot of cartoons, but notably, he did the voice of Panda in We Bare Bears. He has an animated Disney trifecta, as he's done numerous voices in Disney cartoons like DuckTales and the animated Descendants. More notably, he has done voices in Pixar films like Monsters University and Inside Out and Inside Out 2. He also did a voice in the Marvel podcast series Squirrel Girl, which I feel like we mentioned a long time ago. And we mentioned Bobby Moynihan doing this, but I just can't remember. I feel like we've talked about this before, but this is not his only Star Wars, though. I think this is why we mentioned it before. He did a voice in season 7 of the Clone Wars. He also did a voice in Star Wars Visions, Tatooine Rhapsody, which is, I think, where we talked about Bobby Moynihan the first time.
Yes.
But more recently, he is the voice of Jedi Bob in the Lego series Rebuild the Galaxy.
If you have not watched Rebuild the Galaxy and Rebuild the Galaxy Pieces of the Past, I am begging you, please watch these two shows. They are both 4 episodes. They are very short. You will have a good time. They are absolutely stacked with voice casts. They are so fucking funny. I watch them with my partner, who generally doesn't give a shit about Star Wars, and they're some of the only Star Wars he consistently liked as we went through it. All right, let's talk about these two. They could not more obviously be married. And this is something of a, we'll call it, controversial topic, but not controversial in the sense that people argue about them. Controversial in sort of the way this is handled. This came out, as we mentioned, in 2019. And representation in media for queer characters has gotten better very rapidly, very fast.
Right.
And it is important to remember, especially for maybe our younger audience, this is a recent development in media. It's only been in about the last 6 or 7 years that we've really started to get a lot of representation in media that's not specifically about queerness itself. And this was a case of when this was developed and when this was put on the air, Disney was not going to let somebody be openly gay in their Star Wars thing. Right. That wasn't going to be a thing they were going to allow. Disney had allowed at least 2 queer characters prior to this.
Okay.
They were both in books. In Lords of the Sith in 2015, there's Moff Moores, who is the evil lesbian. Okay. And then in Aftermath, of which the first one came out in 2015, there's Sinjar Rath Velis, who is one of the protagonists, the heroes of the Aftermath trilogy, is a gay man. They had allowed it, but in book form. But they've always been a little more...
Visual media is always...
Visual media has always been a little less willing to do that. Right. So they never came out at all throughout the show and explicitly say that Orca and Flicks are gay married.
Right.
Now, the producers of the show, Justin Ridge and Brandon Auman, in 2019 did confirm that Flicks and Orca are in a romantic relationship on a podcast. Disney itself, as an entity, has never acknowledged. They don't like to acknowledge resistance in general, and they definitely don't acknowledge this couple. They have never put out anything, a reference book, a comic cover, a fucking tweet that acknowledges that these characters are intended to be gay. To this day, we don't know why they won't do this. They have explicitly gay characters in Young Jedi Adventures, so it's not a kid show thing. They have them in The Acolyte.
Is it just because it's just not explicitly stated in the show, so it's not like you can't be?
We don't know. We don't know why they have not come out later and confirmed.
Yeah. Anywhere
in any piece of media or any sort of reference or any sort of official.
Unless Pablo
Oh,
Hidalgo puts it in a reference book, I guess it doesn't count, right? Like, so,
this is a tricky case to where it was absolutely the intention of the producers that these two were romantically involved. And
right,
ordinarily, we absolutely would get that confirmed in a reference book somewhere. But
right.
for some reason, they've never acknowledged this, even despite the fact.
Yeah.
So I'm going with they definitely are. In one of my
Okay.
rare cases of I'm going with something the producer said, because
Okay.
I don't know why at this point the Walt Disney Company and Lucasfilm Limited will not acknowledge that the producer said that these two were intended to be written as a romantic couple.
I would have to watch the podcast where they said that because, like, were they saying it in like a fun, like, jokingly way, like where they were like, "Oh yeah, they're obviously like a gay couple," like,
No,
ah,
they were,
like,
from what I've seen of it, I don't have the direct quote up in front of me, but I've seen it
yeah,
over the years. And no, they were explicitly like these guys were supposed to be in a romantic relationship.
okay, because it's giving, it's giving Dumbledore was gay the whole time, and I don't know if I like that.
They
I
it,
mean,
it
that's
wasn't
what it gives.
necessarily that case. It was more that the let me see. Okay, I found the exact quote.
Okay, what's the quote?
The quote is from Justin Ridge. Quote, I think it's safe to say they're an item, absolutely. They're absolutely a gay couple, and we're proud of that. We love Flix and Orca, end quote. So it's a case of where the creators always intended for it to be this way.
Right.
It's not a case of retroactively trying to be like Dumbledore was gay to score
Yeah.
points. The Disney company and Lucasfilm Limited just won't acknowledge that.
Yeah.
And
It's tough for
we
me to.
don't know
Yeah.
why.
I
Uh,
think, yeah. I mean, not that it's honestly
Moynihan.
not
Oh, I
important.
found
Like,
more.
yeah.
I'm referencing an EW article
Okay.
about it. Bobby Moynihan, heard later on the same podcast installment, Coffee with Kenobi is the podcast, was thrilled to be able to finally talk about this aspect of Orca. I have had a sentence prepared for a year and a half, he said. If someone would finally ask me, I would say, all I can say is that when Flick says, I love you, Orca says, I know. They're the cutest.
Okay. I mean,
So
that's a little bit more compelling for me. The way that the first quote was worded to me doesn't scream we're proud because you didn't put it in the show. So
they couldn't.
but
And that's why I
that's
added that
how I, that's,
context.
yeah,
Yeah, they couldn't do it at the
right.
time. You got to remember too that with the Disney media and particularly the media that was designed for kids is that Disney was much stricter in oversight.
Yeah.
A lot of the so more like queer content was more intended for young adults or new adults or like like that it was not they did not want to have this in their animated shows for kids.
Got it.
So they were almost certainly told you were not allowed to do this by the Disney execs. And they were finally able to get, I guess J.J. Abrams was able to put it in The Rise of Skywalker. And that was the first visual media. Yeah, we'll talk about that when we get to The Rise of
Yeah, well, I
Skywalker.
have discussions on that, but yeah.
I also have thoughts on
Yeah.
that particular moment.
Uh-huh.
But I, once again, defending men, I guess. I think the intention of the producers was always for this, and there's something behind the scenes.
Okay.
And
I'll
maybe
have to maybe I
Lucasfilm
just
was
have to
just,
see more scenes with the characters and see how they interact
it will
because
make sense. Oh, it will make
okay.
sense.
Because
Trust me. Trust
currently
me. It
from
will
what
make
I've seen
sense.
it doesn't. So I just
It will. Oh,
okay.
no, it will make sense.
Okay.
Believe me, when we go through the show, it will make sense.
Okay. I'll look
Uh,
out for it.
you can be skeptical, but keep in the back of your
No,
mind that
I'll keep that in the back of my
it is
mind
definitely the
now.
intention of the
Yeah.
creators.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
That,
Um
but for some reason,
yeah.
the company itself won't ever
Well,
acknowledge it
that I'm not that
anywhere.
shocked about, but yeah.
Well, they don't acknowledge resistance. That's the thing too, is
Well, that
they
is
want to borrow elements from it,
yeah.
but like
I've
these
never seen them
characters,
acknowledge that the show ever exists, ever.
yeah,
Like,
they don't want to talk about it.
and it's weird because
It's
it's
really weird.
some of the only content that has their original Disney characters in it, which
Hmm.
is strange to me because you'd think like they throw up all the characters all over the parks. Like Ray's walking around all the time. You would think that like they would be more inclined to have their own characters that they made walking around the parks and like on TV shows and promos and things, but this show for some reason I just don't understand. Like
Yeah,
it is
they
invisible.
don't they'll pick elements from it. They'll pick and choose. We've talked about on the Bad Batch. We've talked
Mhm.
about Hamada Ziono shows up in Ahsoka because Dave Filoni co-created the show
Right.
and he loves this show and he likes to sneak things in.
Hmm.
So like that adds a lot of great context to this show. And viewers of Ahsoka now know Hamada Ziono, that asshole senator, is the dad on this show. This is about his son. So the creatives clearly want to acknowledge this, but the company doesn't acknowledge the show overall. It's very weird that they don't.
Yeah,
And
it's just strange.
I'm I get that it has like I say bad reputation. A lot of people haven't watched it.
Right.
And I think part of the reason a lot of people haven't watched
Yeah.
it is because Disney doesn't bring it up and Lucasfilm doesn't bring it up.
Well, and then I guess I'll bring this up now. There I did read on, on the Wikipedia article, and we talked about this I think in the first episode, that this particular episode we're watching now aired on Disney Channel. And then the
Right.
rest of the show aired on Disney XD, which not a lot of people watch
No, they did
because
not.
that was its own kind of specialized channel for teens almost. Like it was like a
This this was in the pre-Disney streaming
right, it
era.
was like kind of like the pro streaming. Like it
Yeah.
was like or it's like a or proto streaming is what I'll call it. Like it was like let's test out like putting selective stuff on a platform that's like different content. And I feel like that's what Disney XD was. It was kind of like let's have Disney Junior for the young babies. Let's have Disney Channel for young children. Let's have Disney XD for teens. And then that's like their evolution of their stuff. But
And now they're kind of back to
eh,
doing it.
just find that ironic. We got to move on.
We got to move on. We got to talk about how Orc and Flicks are immediately the cattiest two gay men you've ever met in their 60s.
I love them. I love the okay, so first of all, I love Flix's alien design.
Yes,
The what is it called?
they're a Gazo. Flicks
Gazo.
is a Gazo. And I know this
Love
because Hope, who
Hope is
is
a Gazo
my
and
co-podcaster
yeah.
on For Light and Dice and definitely listening to this episode. Hi, Hope, because Hope fucking loves Resistance. If you want more in depth of a lot of the facts that I'm skipping, because these episodes are fucking long enough as it is, go listen to J Guys and Jedi's coverage of Resistance. But Hope plays a Gazo on For Light and Dice, inspired by Resistance, as spoilers for Light and Dice now does Robin. Robin also plays a Gazo.
Okay.
And Gazos, I
I
think, have really only appeared in Resistance.
in Resistance, we have never seen them outside of the show, which is a
Well, this
shame
is a
because I
thing
feel
Charles
like
should research.
I feel well, if we have, they're only in the background or they're very like maybe in Bad Batch it was in there
Oh,
somewhere.
no, I'm super fucking wrong. A main antagonist of Star Wars Young Jedi Adventures is a Gazo.
Oh, okay. So that's more, but that's more of a recent development since
That's
this
a
came
recent
out. So yeah.
development. They have only appeared in Resistance.
Hmm.
They have appeared in Young Jedi Adventures.
Okay.
They have appeared in an episode of Jedi Temple Challenge. And they have appered in 2 comic books.
Okay. Interesting.
And that is where Gazos have appeared.
Well, I really like that alien design. I just think it's very interesting. It's one of my favorite more recent aliens that they've come up with. In second place, I actually also love Orca's alien species, which is Chadrafan. I love that one because in the was it the which was it the something from Galaxy's Edge? The second Phasma book. What is it called? That we
Black
covered?
Spire.
Black Spire. When we covered Black Spire, the Chadrafan character in that book, I forget the character's name, but I liked the design of the alien because it's like a cute little, person. Like,
Chadrafans date back to 1976.
okay. I really like
It's a
that alien.
Chadrafan that appears in the Mos Eisley Cantina in
Yes.
Star
I remember that.
Wars.
They're like sipping
Star
on
Wars: A New
something.
Hope.
Yeah. They're so cute.
There's a shot of a little Chadrafan, little alien that's reaching up to the bar to get their drink.
Yeah.
That is a Chadrafan. They have appeared.
Amazing.
They've appeared a lot across Star Wars.
Yeah.
Very popular alien for people to use because the design is a lot of fun. Shout out to the High Republic. There is a Chadrafan antagonist in Phase 1 that is I like a lot. I love this character so much, and his motivation for being evil is perfect.
I just love that they are bat hamster things. Like they're so cute. Like they're just like
And they
love it.
fucking think this is the most hilarious thing they've ever seen.
Oh, yeah, I love how they laugh at
mentions
him.
the fireball, and they both just start laughing.
They're
Like,
dead laughing at him.
they're dead laughing at him. They're completely united in mocking this fucking twink that just walked into their shop. I love them so much. Like, it's great. And I love that over the course of the scene, speaking of Kaz, my note is Kaz discovers capitalism.
You're right.
because
Um,
he was gonna ask his dad for money so he could buy things,
right.
and then he told his dad to eat shit correctly, but then discovered that goods and services cost money.
It makes me mad though, because he, well, it's not, again, now I have a new segment called Men Doing the Wrong Thing. I'm not defending men's choices here. I don't know what we're calling it. Men are always awful. This is on Yeager because why the fuck did he not tell Kaz, you are responsible for the parts? Like, he's like, here you go. Here's the list. Like, first of all, how would you, Yeager, why, why Kaz is here. You know he probably doesn't have that much money. You know like, why would he do this? I don't understand why Yeager put him in this plot because Yeager knows he has no money. So why would he immediately not tell him, hey, by the way, you are responsible for the parts? Because Kaz immediately thought Yeager has a line of credit or whatever, because it would make logical sense that it's his ship that he's buying parts for. So therefore, Yeager should have a line of credit
No,
somewhere
no,
to
no. The
for this stuff.
pilot buys the parts for the ship.
Pisses me off.
Kaz is the pilot. That's how well, it makes sense in the context of the economy
In
of
the economy of the show, it makes
the
sense. Yes.
Colossus.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like but also, yes, Yeager's kind of a dick here because he does
Right.
not tell Kaz. Like, he sends him off to the part and just assumes he has money.
That part made no sense to me.
And it's just like, go on,
Yeah.
buddy.
I don't like
Go
that.
buy the parts you're gonna
Hate it.
need to do the thing. Like maybe he's trying to teach Kaz a life lesson, but I don't know.
Yeah,
This
but
has
what's the
been
lesson of like now I can only afford junk and shit parts? Like I don't understand
yes,
like
the lesson is you need money to buy things. The
okay.
lesson is that goods and services cost money.
Okay.
So this has concluded our second new segment, attacking men for fun.
There you go.
We have
That's a good
defending men, I guess,
that's a
and
better
attacking men
topic.
for fun.
That's a better name.
Uh, I I do want to shout. We'll come back to the subject of capitalism in a second.
Okay.
But I do want to shout out the music in this episode.
Okay.
The composer for this show is Michael Tavera.
Hmm.
He's going to compose all of the music for this show. He is a composer with 143 acting credits. It looks like he does a lot of TV animation.
No, nice.
Has a Disney trifecta because he is the composer of Star Wars Resistance. He's the composer for the Guardians of the Galaxy TV show. And he's the composer for the Lilo and Stitch, the series.
Oh, nice.
And that is all just from glancing at the top of the IMDb page.
That's if you can get that much just from the top, that means he's got a lot going on in the rest
So
of it.
he writes a lot, like TV shows and TV movies. He's a longtime Disney composer. Because the music is excellent for this show. Gorgs.
All right. So this
We've
is going to
seen a
start our
Gorg
Gorg
before.
section.
Yeah, we've seen a Gorg before.
We have.
We have. From
In
the
what?
StarWars.com buckets list. Quote, Gorgs were first introduced in the Mos Espa street market sequence of The Phantom Menace. A hapless Jar Jar Binks tried to eat a Gorg from an angry vendor without paying for it first. End quote. So if you watch the Mos Espa scene, the thing he grabs with his tongue, then the guy yells at him, you got to pay for that. That's a Gorg. That's a Gorg. Yep.
Are Gorgs look different when they're grown up? Like, are we looking at a baby Gorg in? Hold on, maybe I haven't seen. I'm looking at Gorg on Wikipedia because I'm like, that's not the same thing. That is a totally different species. Why? How is that a Gorg?
That's a more adult Gorg.
Yeah,
I think.
Okay, so that's what it is.
This is a younger Gorg.
We're looking at baby Gorgs because this Gorg in this show looks like a round little ball. In Phantom Menace, they look like a giant fucking frog thing. Like, okay, that's why I'm like, this doesn't make any sense because I'm like, wait.
Yeah, no, this is the same thing. I think these are just younger Gorgs or Gorgs grow up to be. There's not a lot of information on Gorgs.
There's not, and which is weird because there's not even like a picture of the one from Resistance
now
on the Wikipedia page.
Now we have to turn to Legends. Because these things did exist in Legends.
Okay, I'll go to
they were not
page.
necessarily called Gorgs.
That looks better.
They were referred to as Chubas in Huttese, which is a lot of the material used them. And quoting from the Wikipedia section on the Legends Gorgs, quote, there are many species of Gorg, including long-tailed, three-eyes, and four-eyed varieties.
I see.
Different types of Gorgs were eventually introduced to the population of Naboo and its moon of Rory, where they evolved to become large flesh-eating creatures.
I see. Yeah, and then I'm
In
looking
quotes. So
at
there's different
I'm
types
looking at it.
of Gorg.
Well, the one in the Phantom Menace, there's actually another one where Jabba looks like he's picking it up to eat it in the Phantom Menace, and that one looks a
Yes.
lot closer to the one from Resistance. And I was like,
You can
okay,
tell it's the same family of creature.
right, that makes
Uh,
sense. And because I'm looking at the one that was hung up in the stall, like it looks nothing like the babies or whatever. But if you look at the one that Jabba eats, then you're like, oh, okay, that's the same fucking thing. Like that makes sense. Okay, so you scared me for a second because I was like, is that the same thing? I was like, Bucket letting me down with these facts for a second there, but no, he came
no,
back.
it's the same thing.
Okay, fine. Um, I need to go to Bolza for a second. So we didn't mention his voice actor because I didn't realize we have already mentioned him in a previous Star Wars media, and I wanted to bring him up here anyway, just because I felt like it was worth it since he actually has a decent part of both these episodes. Bolza is voiced by Fred Tatasciore, who we've talked about before. He's done multiple Star Wars voices, but recently he was Brutus in Skeleton Crew, and that's where we most recently talked about him.
Yes.
So
Okay.
I wanted to give him his due because we did talk about him before, but I just want to be like, okay, because he is clearly a reoccurring character. So I wanted to talk about him here. But Bolza is here and I guess just decides to fund not even
Yeah.
fund, like I don't
So
even know.
we'll
What
come to
is
this
it?
in a second. There's a
Yeah.
couple of things that are being set up in this scene, in addition to
Okay.
the Gorgs, who will be a recurring thing.
Okay.
One of the things that is being set up is that everybody hustles on the Colossus.
Right.
If you're not in Doza Tower, and even if you're an ace, you're still hustling.
Right.
But like down on the street level, it is not uncommon to have for people to have two jobs. It is
That makes
not
sense.
uncommon for people to do more than one thing. It is not uncommon for people to bust their ass. This goes
Mhm.
back to that class structure.
Right.
So like just because you see one guy who's acting as Aunt Z's sort of bouncer or the guy that you whacked with
Right.
the darts, it may be the same guy running the stand. And the Colossus is small.
Mm,
There are consequences for your actions.
I see.
Everyone is watching everybody. So it takes that and also kind of shows Kaz learning a little bit how this works
Right.
because he is able to talk Bolza into giving him the Gorg.
Right. Well, it's a very bargaining
He works
type
out that
of
he has to
thing.
do
Yeah.
this. Yeah.
Right.
He sees Niku do it
Hmm.
with Flix and Orca because Niku's like, come on, guys,
Right. You can do something for us. Yeah.
trading on my reputation. So Kaz is like, oh, I also need to trade on my reputation
Right.
to get this. So it is clever. It is sort of establishing things. It is an utterly ridiculous scene. And also they take the Gorg back to Flix and Orca, and Flix and Orca are just fucking with Kaz
Yeah. So I'm like,
because people
were
are
they
just gonna
kidding?
fuck with Kaz. I think no. I think they thought go pick us up takeout and then got bored waiting for him and we're like, fuck it. We can microwave some food.
Okay. Because I guess that's just why I don't like this scene very much. Because I'm just like, what was the purpose other than put his logo on the thing? But like the logo on the thing only mattered because he needed the Gorg for free. And then they didn't even need the Gorg. So that means that he doesn't need the logo on his ship. So there's nothing from this scene that means anything or does anything other than introduces Flix and Orca's character and then how like petty they are. Like it just being like, okay, well, we didn't actually need
and
this.
and we do need their characters introduced. They are going to be recurrent throughout the show.
Right.
It's doing the pilot thing of go from point A to point B because you also notice it's kind of showing you everywhere on the station.
That's true.
You've seen the
You
loading
have to see the
dock, you've seen
marketplace. You have
Aunt
to see
Z's, you
the,
have to
yeah.
see the
Hmm.
marketplace, you have to
I get
see
it.
the Office of Acquisitions. The only place you don't see inside of
Is the
is
tower.
Doza Tower.
Right.
And in Doza Tower, that's mentioned at least, and it's called attention to the fact that no, you're not going to see the inside of Doza Tower
Got it.
for a hot minute.
Okay.
Kaz does his little storm off, and he does sort of lay out to the audience why he's like this. It's not that he's stupid, it's that he has issues with his dad. And
Right.
his dad basically never gave him a chance to develop a lot of these skills, and so he's having to get a crash course in them. So I do like that it does lay out his motivation very, very clearly for the audience.
Section 4. On race day, Eager reminds Kaz that survival and his mission matter more than winning. The race begins with a rough start, but Kaz ignites his engines at the right moment and catches up to Tora. Yeager repeatedly warns him not to take risks. Against advice, Kaz pushes the fireball harder and the engines ignite. Kaz loses control, plunging into the ocean below. Kaz awakens surrounded by Team Fireball and Tora, unscathed despite losing the race. Yeager invites Kaz to speak privately, and he trusts Poe's judgment and lets Kaz stay on the Colossus as a mechanic, but refuses to help with the mission.
I love the guy who is immediately showing up to the bar to start drinking at 8 a.m.
Is it the same guy that is in
It's
every
the same.
shot?
So
Okay.
it's the same guy that
Who
was
just sits at the
like
bar. Yeah, and
sitting at the
doesn't move
bar while all the
or
fighting was
react. Yeah.
happening.
Okay. It's like the
Yeah.
old man character. Yeah, that's really funny.
Yeah. I love that he's just outside the
He's
bar.
waiting for it to open. Yeah.
His name is Al. Al
Al.
or Big Al, and we will
Big
see
Al.
him several times.
Love that.
With regards to the race, the start of the race, I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty, but the fact
Yeah.
that Kaz's engine stalls out immediately,
Classic.
it's another very similar thing to the Phantom Menace.
Phantom
There's a
Menace. I
lot
was
of
gonna
Phantom
say
Menace callbacks in this.
I was gonna say this whole entire pretty much episode, like there's been little bits and
Mhm.
pieces for that.
Anakin's pod racer stalls out because it's sabotaged, and Ben
Yep.
Quadraneros's pod racer also stalls out on the front lines of the Phantom Menace, the starting line. So I did like that a lot.
Yeah, the only thing I have about the race, I just wrote down that I really liked Tora's ship design. Like, I just like
Yes,
her. Like, hers is very sleek and just very pretty to look at. I like the blue, so I like how the characters match their ships. Like we saw in the lineup or whatever, and when we saw them flying, like they all like color scheme like match their ships, which I really like. Which is probably why I don't like the Fireball because it's yellow and Kaz is green, and I think that's why I don't like it because he wears his classic green jacket, like that's like his character outfit that he wears every single day. I don't like that his color scheme is green and the fireball is yellow because on the color wheel, those are right next to each other and they're not like complementary. And I don't like that because they're not opposite. So if he had been opposite, I would have maybe liked it, but he's not. So he should actually be wearing purple, should be his color scheme to make it make sense. Or the ship should be purple, he should be yellow. At least with Tora, she's this light blue and pink, and then her ship is also light blue and pink and white. Like it makes it all kind of blends together really well.
keep in mind the Fireball is not Kaz's ship.
Okay, fine.
He did not pick this color scheme. It is not his ship, and
That's
I think
true.
the mismatch is intentional
Okay,
with the
fine.
design.
You're right. It's not his ship.
It's not his ship.
It's Tam's ship.
It's
So
Tam's ship.
right, you're
This
right.
will
You're
be super important as the show keeps going on.
right. Okay. Okay.
Yeager promised the ship to Tam.
Right.
She was working on it. She did all the work, probably paid all the money
Hmm.
to get it to the point that it is. And then comes Yeager being like, I'm letting Kaz fly it.
And not only fly it, crash it into the ocean.
Mhm.
I'm sure she was pissed.
So she's done all the work, and now Kaz has raced it, crashed it into the ocean, and it's Yeager's fault.
Hmm.
So this has been attacking men for fun.
Yep.
Sorry, Yeager. I do understand the terrible position you're in, but this is kind of a dick move.
This is, yeah, I feel like he did this on purpose because he knows that now there's low quality parts in the ship, thus causing it to, I mean, it was already has a reputation for catching fire. So not only that,
I
but
don't
now
think
it
he
has
wants.
shittier stuff.
I don't think he wanted Kaz to die.
Right.
I will say this for Yeager. He is making the best of the situation he's put himself in, and he doesn't have to be involved.
And
He
he
could
makes
have
it clear
just
he doesn't want to be involved. So
that it has a boundary. We'll get to that in a second.
yeah.
But like he doesn't have to step into this, and like he doesn't. And part of where Yeager is kind of a dick in this episode too is that like he doesn't say things, he doesn't do things that he absolutely could say or do to make this easier because he doesn't want to get involved in
Right.
this. We will find out why over the course of the first season he super does not want to get involved in this.
Okay.
This will make sense by the end of season 1. Why
Got it.
he's like, I want nothing to do with this. I acknowledge it has to be done, but I personally don't want anything to do with it.
Correct. Yeah.
Speaking of the race, Tora does seem like she's kind of being mean to Kaz. I think she's genuine. Again, I know things about Tora that this episode, you
Mhm.
could read her as kind of psyching him out. or you could read her as genuinely cheering him on.
Okay.
And it's
I
hard
just
to
took it
say
as
which.
like race taunting, like when you're just in the race, like that's just what you do. Like,
It's
you know what I
hard
mean?
because when I first watched the pilot, that's how I took it too. And no, she's got more going on
Okay.
than that. But one thing I will, eh, defending men, I guess, Yeager is absolutely right to convince Kaz to back off the race. Because Kaz is young. He wants to be a racer. That's been a lifelong dream of his. He's got his chance. He could actually win. Like, first race on the station, he could beat Tora Doza, which is an incredibly impressive feat. He could cement himself as one of the best racers on the station. He chooses the mission. And again, I like that the show is very explicit about it.
Right.
Yeah. And again, we will find out more about why Yeager is like that. And Yeager does set this very strong boundary when
Right.
he's talking to Kaz afterwards,
Hmm.
where he says, I'll give you a job, I'll keep an eye on you,
Right.
but all that spy stuff is on you.
Yeah, if you get caught, I don't have anything to do with it.
If you get caught, I'm going to
Yeah.
disavow any knowledge of it.
Right. I don't
Because
know
I don't
you.
want to, I'm
Yeah.
old and I don't want to be involved in this.
Hmm.
And we'll find out why over the course of the season.
Okay.
He does not want to be involved in this.
Nice.
All right, take us into the bit you
I
really
was
want
gonna
to
say
talk about.
it doesn't work with this section, so I had to keep it its own section. Section 5, in an epilogue scene, Alaric von Reg, the First Order Red TIE Interceptor pilot from before, arrives at the nearly completed Starkiller base. Over the comms, he orders an officer to notify Phasma of his return.
Okay, let's just get out of the way. Who's voicing Major Von Reg?
Von Reg is being voiced by Lex Lang, who is a voice actor and voice director who has provided voices and served as a director for numerous
A
animations.
jaw-dropping amount of animation and video
Animations,
games.
anime, and video games. I kept anime separate because there's just so many. Such as, I mean, he's done voices in Power Rangers, like multiple different series, Digimon, Crash Bandicoot video games,
We
the
mentioned one of them.
Naruto
I
one.
mentioned one of them
Yeah, what would
in
you call it?
our in our Patreon exclusive prelude, our
Yeah.
little warm up. I mentioned that part of the reason we've only watched, which you can access, patreon.com/gold
Hmm.
scrunching gaze, $3 a month. I mentioned part of the reason I've only watched 3 episodes of Percy Jackson is because my partner and I have been watching the new season of Jujutsu Kaisen.
Mm, and he does a
And in
voice in that.
Jujutsu Kaisen, Lex Lang voices Suguru Geto,
Got it.
who is, I'm going to phrase this very carefully, the voice that he is providing is for the main antagonist of the show. That is worded very carefully. If you watch Jujutsu Kaisen, you know why I said it that particular way, but
Got
it
it.
is a very iconic voice. I know him really quickly. He is in all three of the main Mass Effect games, not Andromeda, but he's in the first three,
Hmm.
and he's in Dragon Age Origin.
Well, he's also in some random things too. Like, so he's uncredited in a role as the devil in Brandon Fraser's movie Bedazzled. If you've ever seen that movie, which is an iconic movie. So good. Something you might see him in that you might start soon is he is in Doom Patrol.
Okay.
Um, in season 2, he plays the main antagonist in season 2. I won't spoil what it is, but that way you can look forward to that. He's done voices in Star Wars video games. Obviously, he was in Knights of the Old Republic 2, Jedi Survivor, Fallen Order, Battlefront 2. He's done most of them.
He's in
Um,
both Battlefront 2s.
there's more than one Battlefront
There
2.
is more than one Battlefront 2. There was the original in 2005, or it might have been 2006 or 7.
I didn't know that.
But he's in the original Battlefront 2 as Han Solo,
Okay,
and he's in the EA Battlefront 2 as Poe Dameron. So he is in both.
got it. Okay. He does have a Disney trifecta. He was in Avengers Age of Ultron actually as an extra, like as a soldier, and he did various voices in Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse, and he was also in Agents of Shield, and he's just done multiple Marvel things. But he did the voice of Baymax in Big Hero 6's video games. And then he was also, I guess this is technically Disney because it's on Disney Plus. I think they own it now, or it's like their thing. He's in the animated Diary of a Wimpy Kid stuff, so he does voices in that, which I think is just technically Disney anyway. So there you go. That is Lex Lang. Now let's talk about the actual scene itself, which is very
I
quick,
just want to
but
mention, one final thing. In Dragon Age Origins,
oh my God.
there's a tenuous Star Wars connection. He does voice a character named Cassian.
Okay.
I thought that was funny.
That is funny, actually.
Anyway, The scene is basically here to tell us what the meta plot of the show
Right.
is going to be. When I say the show will get a little more complicated and progressively darker as it goes along, the First Order is out here doing stuff,
Right. Yeah.
but they're like hiding.
It's all behind the
Uh,
scenes.
and they
Yeah.
do just flat out tell us at the beginning. I don't think they name it specifically, but we do see Starkiller Base.
Right. I just said that because I know what it is.
Yeah, I
I don't
also
think
have in
you're
my
right.
notes
I think they
Starkiller Base.
don't, yeah, they don't
They
say
don't
what it is.
say what it is,
No. It's like
but
when, yeah, it's like in
we see they
Andor when
have
they see the thing.
converted a
Yeah.
whole fucking planet, and
Right.
we'll get to what planet it is
Okay.
when we get to the Force Awakens. I think is where we will talk
We
about in
hear it.
earnest
Okay.
about Starkiller Base.
Got it.
This is Starkiller Base from the
Right.
Force Awakens, and we do see it. So at the very least, if you're watching all this in order, you do see there's a big fucking thing
Right.
that they've built out of a planet, and we get a name drop for Captain Phasma
Yes.
too.
Which
That
loves.
he's gonna go report directly to Captain Phasma.
As he
That'll
should.
be relevant. This guy reports directly to Phasma.
Loves. Loves.
So that's your stinger for where your tease for where the show is going to eventually go.
I like it. And you know what? I love a red first order outfit anyway. So like I Captain Cardinal is like top tier, like design. I like this too. Like this is great. I love a
Yes,
good red trooper.
we'll talk about this when we get to the Rise of Skywalker, but red stormtroopers are and have been a thing.
Okay. I like it.
Yes, that comes from somewhere. We will talk about it.
Alrighty.
So, yes, do you have final thoughts on the recruit?
Yeah. The recruit, well, part two. Because I guess I can kind of combine it all together. I mean I think it was good. This one was weaker only because the it's just the race. Like there's really not much plot that happens here other than like we had to see the race and everything. I appreciate the epilogue for the setting up the meta plot. I wish we would have gotten a little more of it. I felt like you could have probably snuck in a few more scenes here or there because I feel like we saw Von Reg at the beginning of the first episode, and then he just fucks off, and we never hear about him again for the rest of the episode up until literally this epilogue. So I feel like it was kind of like, oh yeah, I forgot that that guy did that thing in the first episode. I feel like they should have kind of put it somewhere else. I don't know. I maybe even the beginning of the episode. I don't know. It's a weird format. I will say. I think the meta plot is a stronger story device. I don't like the plot necessarily of this, like, oh, he has to race whatever, get parts. Like, it's
You'll see.
fine, but it's not that bad. I think it's just not as strong. And I would have preferred the more of the meta plot being a bigger part of the pilot of this show. No pun intended. But I just feel like it wasn't a focus enough. Kaz's mission is not a focus enough of a plot point in this first episode. It's more of him just establishing himself on the Colossus, which is fine. This pilot though seems more like a second episode to me, not a first episode. I feel like his introductions to everybody and everything is fine for a pilot, but I feel like the plot itself is not a good pilot. I feel like he needed to do something mission wise to actually like discover something about the First Order, thus pushing him on his journey to be a spy for the Resistance. Like that's more like kind of what I was thinking about this when I was watching. But I don't know. What are your final thoughts?
My final thought is, with to that point, I think that when you have a show, any sort of piece of media, and I'm gonna bring it around because Beach House Studios fucking does this. You've read at least the first book, it does this. It kind of starts off as one thing
Hmm,
and gradually evolves into another thing.
that's true.
This is kind of facing that same structural problem, is how do you, like, because you have to get people to care about the Colossus before you can start bringing in outside forces. And you will next episode, we will start bringing in non-Colossus plot elements and people. But even before you can do that, you have to spend a little bit of time in the Colossus doing normal Colossus things. so that you can get an idea of what is this station, what is life like on this station, before we get into the plot, which is going to be about somebody coming in and fucking that up, trying to fuck that up. And I don't want to speak too much, but the very early episodes, and particularly the first half of season 1, do suffer a bit from not being able to reconcile these two things together.
Right.
Because the whole point is there is a meta plot going on. It is Kaz's job to figure it out, but he also has to live on the Colossus while he's doing that. And so I do see where a lot of people have told me like they started the show and they never finished it, or they dropped off after a couple of episodes. And I do think part of that is because this show kind of put too much faith in the viewers to keep going.
Right.
Because people hated Rebels, but they kept watching it.
Right.
And I think the fact that the sequels were a hot button topic at the time this came out, that, you know, this came out around the Last Jedi discourse. I think a lot of people didn't tune in and give it a chance who otherwise would have tuned in and given it a chance. I think you've brought up that it was on some random fucking Disney auxiliary channel.
Yeah.
This was back when you had time slots. So you had to plan your day around watching it. I do see why early on it didn't have as much traction with people. And I do see like you do kind of have to trust that the show will change in tone and bring in more of those plot elements. Because you watch these first 2 episodes and you're sort of like, why the fuck is the show called Resistance?
Right, exactly. Yeah.
This show is not about the Resistance. It is, but it hasn't gotten there yet. It will make sense why this is called Resistance by the end of the first season.
Okay.
I'm going to repeat this a lot for the first half of the season, is it's going to make sense why the show is the way it is.
Okay.
It is going places, but I think with a thing with audiences, you kind of have to be very clear up front. And I think this is why that final stinger is there. Right. And also why all the Resistance stuff is so heavy in the first half of the Recruit Part 1 is it's telling us Resistance stuff is going to happen. We'll get there. But what are we talking about next week, Bradley?
Next week, we're talking about episode 3, The Triple Dark.
Hey, get ready for more fucking voice actors.
Oh, God.
Because they're going to keep introducing people. The first probably 5 episodes of the show, they're going to just keep introducing people who are going to be series regulars. So by the time we get to about episode 7 or 8,
right,
we will start dropping off the voice actors because they're going to keep repeating.
Start coming up. Yeah. Okay.
But for the first couple, it's going to be a little long because we got to talk about the voice actors.
Gotcha.
So yes, next week we will be doing season 1, episode 3, Triple Dark. Bradley, reality TV shows. Married to Medicine, currently airing. Temptation Island, The Circle, King's Court, Queen's Court. Do you have any other shows you want people to watch, Bradley, that you worked on?
Not that I can talk about.
Not that you can talk about. Okay, that's a tease. But definitely check those out if you're into reality TV. We want Bradley to keep being employed. You can find me on the Star Wars TTRPG podcast for Light and Dice if you want to see Gazos. You can also find queer books I write. Those are called Beach House Studios. They're crime thrillers. You can find them on places you get books. All right, that's pretty much it. Resistance. It's not so bad, right?
I mean,
Bradley just rolled his eyes. Come back for more It's Just Okay next week. Bradley, run our socials. Thank you for listening to Gold Squadron Gaze. Did Charles fuck something up? Email us at goldsquadrongaze@gmail.com and let us know. You can follow us on BlueSky, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok at Gold Squadron Gaze. Subscribe to us on YouTube at Gold Squadron Gaze, where we post full episodes of this podcast. If you like the podcast, you can also rate us and review us on your favorite podcast app of choice. Please join us next week and every week for another episode of Gold Squadron Gaze. The second that 2 hot men make out, Bradley will be sold.
Then I'll watch it. There you go.
Currently, there's many hot men on the show, but none of them are kissing another man.
Nope.
Which is, we know from Wolfpack, is what will get Bradley to watch a show.
That is the lowest common denominator that I need to watch a show. Is like, if I see 2 dudes kissing, then I'm like, fine, I'll watch it.